Hey, grade 7, I have been in canoes. That is huge. I can't go anymore. Okay. Are we done with the hot dog?
Yeah.
So you invite Rick Dhaliwal out for a golf game, and he repays you with a rare August hit. It's our pleasure to welcome back from the team, Donnie and Dhali on Czech television, returning after Labor Day, if I'm not mistaken, weekdays 10 to 12. It's our buddy, Canucks insider, Mr. Rick Dhaliwal. How you doing,
September
Rick?
6th is when Donnie and Dhali returns. I'm doing this for Blake Price, nobody else, because I love you two guys.
Oh. Well, it sounds to me, though, you're getting a little antsy, huh? Like, you want to get out there back doing shows and reporting and all that.
Well, if the Dhaliwal comes out of his hole in August and doesn't see his shadow, it means he returns just after Labor Day, and he didn't see his shadow.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
That's good news for all of us.
Hey, I'm not used to 6-7 weeks off. Back in our radio days, you never got this. But Taylor negotiated this in the deal, so I got to live with it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Don Taylor, boy, is he in fantastic shape. I couldn't believe how good a shape Donnie was in. He has used his summer to get in incredible shape.
Am I chump me? Like, Sekeres, really? You know?
Well, I thought you looked pretty good in the suit the other day when you guys had your photo day, but here's the thing, Rick. You wear the suit for photo day, but you never actually wear the suit on the show.
No,
were you guys intentionally doing a Miami Vice theme, or no? Was that?
Hey, Miami Vice, Tubbs and Crockett, great show. Every Friday night, 10 o'clock. There isn't a show in the 80s, Blake, that I don't know about. Friday nights at Dallas, and then came Miami Vice, Tubbs and Crockett, great show.
And Rick, just because I know you're probably out about playing golf and not paying attention, you make sure you load up on Crown Royal, okay? There could be some booze shortages coming to the province.
You only buy 3 bottles at a time.
We wouldn't want you to be without Crown Royal on a Friday night for Miami Vice.
2 days ago at Lock, Stock, and Barrel, it's all done.
In the cellar.
Yeah, absolutely. Rick's expansive rye cellar.
Don't worry about me.
Mm-hmm. Hey, when am I getting invited? I thought we were supposed to have dinner, a barbecue at your place.
Look at this heat is too much, guys. I can't sleep at night. The heat's too much. Unlike Taylor and Price, I don't have air conditioning, so I got to suck it up.
All right. Well, one of these days. You're hearing a new name connected to the Vancouver Canucks. Tell.
Ooh.
Well, I think it's funny. People think the Canucks went on holidays, and you see this all the time on social media. They're not doing anything, but I beg to differ. There's still players they're going after. I was told this morning the Canucks are poking around center Evan Rodrigues, 29-year-old, 19 goals with the Penguins last year. Of course, the Canucks management knows this player really well. I'm not saying he's signing in Vancouver, but he's still available, so you kind of keep tabs weekly on players. Sometimes, guys, when a player, August 19th today? Sometimes the price drops on a player late in August in free agency, and you kind of just check in. We are late in August. So, and again, let me emphasize, I'm not saying the Canucks are signing Evan Rodrigues. I do know there's a lot of teams after him. And I think, just keeping tabs. The agent and Alvin have a good relationship. So I think I also believe in my heart the Canucks are still in the mix to land UFA defenseman Calvin Haan. That could be in relation to Tucker Pullman's health. I'm not so sure. He's got those issues with the headaches. So I know people say the Canucks are on holidays. They're not doing much. I beg to differ. I think there's a lot of stuff going on. It's just not made public on a regular basis.
Yeah. Evan Rodrigues, a right-handed centerman, and we know the Vancouver Canucks need one of those. We talked about it when you brought up DeHaan's name a few days ago. We said, there are now probably some bargains on the free agent market. This is the secondary free agent market now, and there probably is some bargains. And boy, if you could get Rodrigues at this stage on a good deal for the club, that would be quite a coup.
We should
for
point
them.
out why he's still available. He's a 19-goal right-handed center. People would be like, why isn't he signed? He's 29, and this is far and away his career year, like far and away. So people are probably saying, okay, you're kind of old. You've had a spike year. How much do we have to pay this guy? And I think that's caused a lot of the apprehension, right?
Absolutely. If he ever came here as the third-line center, you can move Miller to the wing, and your top six can be a whole lot stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're quite right, Rick. That would give them a ton of options in terms of what to do with Miller and Elias Pettersson.
Sorry, move who to the wing, guys?
You can move Miller to the wing, or
JT Miller.
Pettersson to the wing.
He's still on this team?
Yeah, but Blake, if you get Rodrigues, your top six is going to be so much stronger. I really do believe that. Hey, and it's funny, the kid out of Langley, Dante Heinen, he had 19, 20 goals last year. He had to settle for a 1-year deal. Guys, I'm going to tell you, agents I've talked to a lot of them this summer. It's been a really weird free agency. A lot of teams are capped out. A lot of teams, Tyler Mott's still out there. A lot of agents are waiting for for teams to clear cap space. It's been a really, really weird kind of free agency in a lot of ways.
Moving along, Ricky, we're secondary free agent market also feeds into the PTO market a little bit. Do you know whether the Canucks are going to be bringing PTOs to camp? Is Alex Chiasson, Mr. PTO,
well, they said,
at all a possibility?
Jim Rutherford told me, I asked him a few weeks ago about Alex Chiasson, and he said he would be a late summer decision. So, I talked to you guys about Alex Chiasson. I just don't see a fit because simply I'll tell you why. The Canucks went out and, let's be honest. They got a ton of forwards since, the season ended. Mikheyev, Kuzmenko, Lazar, this Dakota Joshua, who I thought when they signed him, guys, would be an Abbotsford guy. I don't think so. I think he's got a possibility to be in the top 9 third line or fourth line, but he's going to start the year in Vancouver. They think highly of this guy. So I just don't see a fit for Chiasson, but they did like the player. They liked him on and off the ice, a good pro. But that's something they'll have to address just before camp.
And that makes life a lot harder on a guy like Will Lockwood, right? If you're bringing in all these bottom 6 guys, you do wonder. And I'm not saying Will Lockwood's, why aren't you giving? He's a surefire NHLer. I'm just saying for a guy that's trying to show his wares, it's going to be a lot harder with NHL talent around him.
Rick, Nazem Kadri turns 32 on the eve of the NHL season, and he got a 7-year deal. And if you're Brian Bartlett and JT Miller, you're rubbing your hands and licking your chops.
You definitely are. Nazem Kadri, 7 years, $49 million. He did JT Miller a huge favor. He's 31 years old. Well, let me put it this way: Kadri's agent did JT Miller a big present here. 31 years old, he got 7 years. Miller's 29. There is no way, guys, Miller will not accept anything under 7-8 years. He's heading into UFA status. And the fact that Kadri at 31 got 7 years, that's just absolutely great news for JT Miller and his agent. And you work hard all your life. I say this a lot. I really mean it. You're controlled. These kids are drafted and controlled by their NHL teams for a long time, guys. And guess what? JT Miller is going to be a UFA in a year. He's worked hard all his life to become that. And he ain't signed him for 4 or 5 years. I just don't see it. I still think the comparable is Mika Zibanejad. Somebody said to me last night, would Miller accept 7 times 7? There's no way. And if he gets another 99 points, guys, he's going to be in an even higher stratosphere, in a higher high-end neighborhood.
He wouldn't take 7 by 7. You don't really?
Okay, Blake, hold it a second. If I just told you that we've been saying since day one that Mika Zibanejad is comparable, who's at 8'5", why would you? I don't get that. I just don't. I don't see it. He would have to crash and get 40, 50 points. But Blake, how about if he gets 99 points again? So where's he at next up?
The player himself admitted that's going to be his career highlight. He's not expecting to get to 99.
How do you know that? He's power play.
No, he said it.
Okay, he's power play. He's penalty killing. Plays 2 positions in the shootout, overtime. Look at his 3 years in Vancouver, Blake. He's been exceptional. I think he's the 12th highest scorer in the NHL in the last 3 years. I don't know. I just, my personal views, I don't see him accepting 7x7.
Well, let me follow up on something that you reported that the agent told you that it's a realistic possibility that they would cut off extension talks at the beginning of the season so that Miller could be without that distraction. Do you believe that? Because they could still negotiate off this 99-point year and off these 3 terrific years. And do you feel like they are, willing to risk injury or underperformance and have him go through the season?
Well, okay, so I'm going to ask you, Blake. Matt. It's tough enough producing at the NHL without being in the final year of your deal and then being in a hot Canadian market. There's a lot at stake for Miller this year. If he can duplicate the 99 or even get 85, 90, I don't care what it is. He's looking at a massive payday as a UFA. There's always the possibility of news leaking, at Christmas time or November about his contract. Oh, they're close, they're far. That can affect a player. It can affect the player. Maybe it's in the best interest of the Canucks and Miller if he just concentrates on his play. If he's producing at a good clip, guys, at the trade deadline, his value will only get stronger and better. And the Canucks' return will only get better if he's producing at a good clip. But, there's a lot of positives for him not to talk contract and for the Canucks as well.
Yeah, and he's even admitted that, it'd be a distraction in a market like Vancouver to have the contract negotiations going on as the season is going on. And I'll give him credit. Like, if they're willing to cross that bridge and go into the year and say no contract extension talks and risk, injury and risk underperformance, well, then that becomes a matter that the Vancouver Canucks have to deal with seriously. And that may well accelerate a trade. That may well mean taking less on the player in a trade because you're worried about injury or underperformance. So
important distinction on the Zibanejad comparison. In the last 4 seasons, Zibanejad had 124 goals. In the last 4 seasons for JT Miller, 88 goals. So we're talking about the difference of, almost 50 goals there between the two of them over the last.
What's the difference in
4
points?
Seasons.
What's the difference in points? Is it that stark?
I didn't tally points,
Yeah.
but again, the hardest skill, the scoring skill, right? So you pay guys to score goals, and Zibanejad scores goals. So.
Blake, there's a reason why the Canucks and Miller are far apart. Is there not? They've been talking for a while.
Right. Yeah.
There's a reason why, Blake. And agents' jobs are to come up. And I don't know if Mika Zibanejad is there 100%, is there comparable, but that's a comparable I've heard a lot. But Blake, the agent's job is to come up with comparables and their client's value. If the Canucks, they're not close. They haven't talked since the NHL draft in Montreal. The agent hasn't been given permission to talk to any teams. Things could change in a heartbeat. But everything, even JT said a couple of weeks ago on a podcast, we're not close. There's a reason why, Blake, they're not close.
Right, because they're probably going to the negotiation. We're going, I'm like Mika Zibanejad, and they're probably going, no, you're not.
And frankly, after years of sweetheart deals, I'm glad to see a Canucks administration draw the line and say no, not a penny more, or no, not a year more. And as we've talked about multiple times, totally understandable on the JT Miller side of things as well, given his age. Given the year that he's coming off, that he's not budging yet either.
Yeah.
We'll see if the start of training camp works as a deadline for either side. We'll see if either position softens by the start of training camp.
Rick, is there any reason why the Canucks, we connect the dots back to the Islanders now because we feel like they're left at the altar there with Kadri? Is there any reason to believe there's another call being broken off from Patrick or Jim to Lou Lamoriello?
Yeah. So I did talk to Kadri's agent this morning. We had a long talk. You know what? The Islanders tried. Lou tried right up to the last minute to create cap space, but they just ran out of time. Calgary, the Islanders, Colorado, Carolina were the teams in on Kadri. But here's the thing, guys, and this gets into Vancouver. First of all, I'll be surprised if the Islanders do not revisit Miller and the Canucks. I think we would all be surprised. But here's the thing. To make room under the cap, the Flames had to send a first-round pick to the Canadians. For those that want the Canucks to trade bad contracts, there's a cost. You have to cough up a sweetener. And because the previous regime here traded so many first and second rounders in the last 3 years, the current regime is not in a position to cough up a sweetener of that variety, which the Flames did for the Habs. The Canucks are not in a position going forward to cough up any more first-round picks. People talk all the time about, it's going to take a while for this new regime to get out from under the mess that was created by the previous regime. It takes time.
Rick, is there any trade interest in Mikey DiPietro, or are we looking at a goaltender who's going to have to go play in Europe this year?
So I've been told there is interest in DiPietro. I've been told that, hold on a sec here. Yeah. So they're talking to teams, the agent and the player, obviously would like a fresh start, guys. He's dropped on the depth chart. One source told me there could be a deal there on the table for the Canucks if they so choose. There are teams interested. There was a rumor going around he might sign in Europe, but I've been told as of today that's not on the table, signing in Europe. The desire is still to be moved to another NHL team. If DiPietro loses the battle to Artur's Silovs. Thanks, Blake. And that pause was because of you. Anyways, if DiPietro loses that battle, he may end up being assigned to the East Coast Hockey League. Think about that. And that would not be attractive.
And there he would be in a battle with Arturs Silvos, another guy.
Just listen to me.
The one thing I'll say, it would be very disappointing to be there if you're Mikey DiPietro, but by the same token, goalies do go to the ECHL, get a ton of work on their game, and there is still some upward.
Literally did.
There's still some upward mobility. ECHL is not a death sentence for a goalie. It effectively is for a skater, unless your name is Alex Burrows.
Hold it a second. I think the Canucks owe this kid a favor. Go back to the COVID.
I would agree.
Yeah, go back to the COVID year. That kid was the third-string goaltender of Vancouver, never saw a game, and that kid never complained. He never bitched. He never whined. He never complained. Not once. That kid.
I would bet he steps foot on NHL ice again in his career. Yeah. I don't think we've seen the last of him on NHL ice.
I would probably take that.
The kid's character.
Lastly,
quickly. No. I got something else here. Just hold on a sec. The kid's character's off the charts. I just want to say one thing. One thing to keep in mind here, and we don't talk about this enough in this market, is the patience of Jim Rutherford. He's not going to make a move just to please you guys, the media or the fans. He's got incredible patience, guys. The most impatient person may not be in the media and the fans. It could be the owner. But he's going to have to wait for this new regime to turn this around. They were not left in a good spot. They don't got a great prospect pool. They were handed a horrible salary cap situation. Lots of high draft picks traded in the last 3 years. It's going to take time. This was never going to be a quick fix. As much as fans and media and maybe even the owner thought, Jim Rutherford's coming here, it's going to be a quick fix. It's going to take time. And I think that everybody's going to have to need patience here because it's just not going to. It's not going to be fixed overnight, guys.
Well, I was put in my place. I will ask how he doesn't group himself in the media side of things. You guys, but not Rick. Okay. And frankly, I don't. Nobody disputes it was going to take patience. All the more reason to trade Miller last year. And say, look, we've got to build a contending team. So, no, I understand, but they also rolled the dice on the playoffs. Yeah. They gambled and lost.
Can we talk to Rick Dhaliwal, CFL Insider now?
Yeah. Please? Nathan Rourke, what's the deal? Is he going to be an NFL guy next year, or the Lions have any shot to buck on up and keep him?
Well, let me tell you something. You know what? For the last few years, I could not watch a Lions game for the complete 4 quarters. I would give up. That's not the case anymore because of Rourke. The icing on the cake is he is Canadian, which is awesome. Some young kid from here to Newfoundland is going to play that position. And he's going to have hope for the first time because of Rourke. And I love that because that's a skilled American position. and we got a Canadian playing a skilled American position. And not only is he excelling, he's the MVP of the whole entire league right now. I love that. I love his composure in the pocket. I love his running ability. I love his toughness. I love his football smarts. Reminds me of a young Dave Dickinson, guys. I don't care. That's my comparable, because Dave was just like that. He wasn't very big. He was small. He was smart, all that stuff. But I do want to say this. I know Rourke gets all the credit, but that's a nice receiving corps in British Columbia that he's throwing to. They make a lot of circus catches to keep drives alive. But
and good old line, too.
They do.
They do. It's going to be a shame if he bolts to the NFL, but you can't blame him if he does. I talked to his agent in Las Vegas, Cameron Weiss, who didn't want to talk about the NFL interest. He wants Rourke to concentrate on winning a Grey Cup for the Lions. Good on him. Last thing you want is outside noise. Just concentrate on the task at hand. Here's the last thing about Rourke. You can stay here in Canada, in Vancouver, and be the superstar, or you can go down there and hold the clipboard. I'm going to take you back to KC Printers. KC Printers had this city on fire. He went down, didn't work out, came back. It's all about opportunity in all of us in life. It's you get an opportunity, and what do you do with it? The BC Lions gave Rourke an opportunity. He's taken off. Would he ever get that same opportunity in the NFL? I don't know. Time will tell. But I just love this story. I love he's Canadian. And I think the next Lions game at home, guys, Price, get your wallet out and get out there and buy a ticket for one.
Oh, I thought Dhali said he was buying tickets for everybody. So.
I'm working the sidelines
Rick,
of those games.
if you want to go to the game next Friday, you let us know. You can come join our group. You can bring one of your boys or your better half or whomever you want to bring, your buddies.
Just
come on out next Friday.
Hey, hold it.
Join us.
Price didn't have to pay for a ticket. He goes on the sidelines to report.
Yeah. He actually gets paid to go to the games, Rick.
Hey.
Speaking of opportunity, we're glad you took up this one, my friend. Nice to hear your voice, see your face. Appreciate the time. We'll catch up when the
you and
Donnie Dhali returns in September.
Golf, and the guy sitting next to you, you know what? Screw him. You know, I've golfed with every media guy in the city except one. And Matt Sekeres calls me all the time, texts me, let's go golfing. But the guy you sit next to, Matt, I'm not good enough. I'm just.
No, I know.
Whatever you're doing with Wadden, I don't think it's golf.
I don't know. I know. I mean, his snobbery knows no bounds.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Stay up.
Okay.
Thanks, Rick.